Well, hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Everyday EDC. Today we are going to be doing a review. A review of what, you might ask? The Ferrum Forge Stinger. Alright guys, this is the Ferrum Forge Stinger. This has G10 liners that are kind of shadow boxed around the outside. A really cool pivot pin right there. And this is T8 and T6, T6. The pocket clip is not ambidextrous, but that's all right. We have a G10 backspacer right here, and these stainless steel liners for your first flip. Woo! These stainless steel liners are milled out very, very well. You can see right there. And then let's, on both sides, very, very well milled out. I'm excited to see how much this thing weighs. Kind of jumping right into it. We're getting into this blade. This blade is a Nitro V steel. Nitro V steel is pretty good. Most people like it. People compare it to 14C28N or a 154CM. Now, they're both comparable. Nitro V, let me check my notes real quick. Nitro V basically has a tiny bit more vanadium, a tiny bit more manganese, and less chromium. So it's a give and take. I really can't tell you the performance versus 14C28N, but if you're going to compare it, I really do like 14C28N. I like 154CM, so I'm going to assume that I really like Nitro V. We don't see it too often. I forgot to mention there's some jimping on this backspacer right here. It does have a stop pin right there. And getting onto the blade with this Nitro V, this is a, what did I do? No, sorry. Stonewash finish. It doesn't look like a complete stonewash finish. There might be something else that's done with it, which is all right. But it looks pretty sick. And this colors, the tan plus the stonewash finish, look pretty cool. We have this fuller here that I thought was just for design, right? Until right before the review, I went, oh, the Spidey Flick. The Spidey Flick just made this knife way more enjoyable for me. I really, really very much enjoy this knife, much more now that I know that I can Spidey Flick it. But that's not all. Wait, there's more. Spidey Flick. Flipper tab, which is non-obtrusive, by the way. It's just a tiny little flipper tab with the perfect amount of jimping, and thumb flip, just good. So that fuller's perfect. Absolutely perfect. This is a nice drop point blade with almost a full flat grind. Yeah, it's just about a full flat grind, and it kind of curves up right there. And in Ferrum Forge style and Tyler style, it comes with a very, very nice finger choil. Freaking love this finger choil. Yes. So this blade is an ultra slicey, ultra nice freaking blade. I love this blade shape. Not the blade shape, the blade, well, just the blade geometry, I should say. Also comes with some very functional jimping on the back side of the spine. Everything is nicely chamfered down, and, you know, I would say the fit and finish is good, and it is, but realistically, the fit and finish is just kind of like two stainless steel liners, two G10 frames, a backspacer. I mean, they kind of just slapped it together, but I have no issues, right? This also, if you haven't noticed, check out the action. For a smaller knife, pretty darn good. It comes on bearings. This price is coming in at 89 bucks, so it's a little bit more pricey than some, but you're getting the Nitro V steel, you're getting the Ferrum Forge designs, and it looks really nice. There's no back and forth, there's no up and down, and the blade is perfectly centered. Look at that. Perfectly centered blade. Let's get you guys some specs on this little bad boy. All right. So, the overall weight of the Ferrum Forge Stinger is coming in at a whopping 2.5 ounces. So it's pretty darn light. And I like to believe that I think we're going to get our blade length to weight ratio for those of you blade length to weight ratio fools out there. So let's find out. So Ronnie's doing this review with me. He's sitting on my lap. That's why I'm moving a little bit awkward. This is coming in at 7 1/4 inches, and the blade length for 7 1/4 inches coming in just over 3 inches. I would call it 3 1/8 inches, or 3 points. What would that be? Like 3.2 or something like that. So the overall cutting edge is coming in at just about 2 3/4 inch, just because you're you have this large finger choil there. With a finger choil, you're always going to sacrifice cutting edge, and I honestly would do that every day of the week, except for Tuesdays. Why? Because Tuesdays suck worse than Wednesdays. Tuesdays suck worse than Mondays. Like, you had a chance to just go to work and you can remember it. I didn't mention this. I'm going to call this chamfering. Somebody may correct me. There's chamfering down about 3/4 the length of the blade spine, which is really nice because it knocks it down, plus the stonewash finish makes it so there's no real sharp edges there. The overall blade stock thickness coming in at about 120 thousandths, and now the behind the edge thickness is coming in at just about 15 thousandths. This thing is a freaking laser beam. 15 thousandths, and it carries it the whole length of the blade. Freaking laser beam. The overall width of the scale is coming in at under 400 thousandths, which is pretty, or 0.4 of an inch, which is pretty darn narrow. And the overall height at the maximum height of your blade coming in at about 1.1 inches. To put that into perspective, your pair of 3s coming in at a 1.66, your pair of 2s coming in at a 1.6, and your Mannix 2s coming in at just about a 1.74 inches. Speaking of your spider toes and listing off the same stuff that you guys listen to every single day that I do a comparison, or not a comparison, a review, here are your spider toes. Obviously, this is a smaller knife. This is a more narrow knife. And to put that into perspective, this is your pair of 3 in G10. This is your Ferrum Forged Stinger. It's coming in, it's hard to tell, but it is coming in at more narrow than the actual pair of 3. It's a pretty narrow knife. We'll get into ergonomics after this, kind of talk about what I like, what I don't like, but we're not done with the size comparison, so you guys just hold your freaking horses. Here is your feldspar and your mini feldspar, and it's just about the same size as your mini feldspar. So it's coming in at a relatively normal size. If you have a mini feldspar and you're thinking about the Ferrum Forged Stinger, actually, let's bring this back out. They're pretty comparable in a lot of ways. I mean, this is just kind of like the budget model of the Ferrum Forged Stinger, but you're still getting a lot of good stuff. D2, you're getting the G10, and you're getting everything else, bearings and everything. So the only difference is instead of a flipper tab, you have thumb studs on the CJRB mini feldspar. Here is your Ret Model 2, also a good comparison, and your Ret Model 1. Just about the same length as your Ret Model 2. So this knife is a very, very good reference point, and it's very, very neutral in the size that most of you guys are going to be able to be like, ah, yes. So here is your Civivi Brigand and your Civivi Doris. As you can see, it's a little bit longer than your Doris, a little bit shorter than your Brigand. And as a special appearance, here is your Civivi Elementum. What the hell? Talk about dirty on the freaking scales. What am I doing there? Hold on. That was disgusting looking. Don't even know what I did. I haven't even used this guy yet. There's your Civivi Elementum in S35VN. So, as a better perspective, there may be a comparison between these two coming up. Maybe, maybe not. Be a pretty good comparison though, right? And then, here, hold on. Go on, buddy. There you go. So to recap, this is G10 Nitro V Steel, Ferrum Forged design with your typical Ferrum Forged finger choil. We have jimping down the spine and some knockdown edges very nicely thanks to both the stonewashing and I'm going to call it chamfering along the spine of the blade. It might be considered a slight swedge, not really sure. We have chamfering all around the shadow boxed G10 on the stainless steel liners, and these are completely milled out on the inside and a lot of milling. This pocket clip is okay, but it is not ambidextrous, and we do have a G10 backspacer with a really, really cool looking pivot. That pivot looks freaking sweet. This fuller, I didn't mention again, this fuller on this blade, wow. So this blade is also on bearings, as I said before. So let's get into my likes, my dislikes, and then I will let you guys go for the day. What don't I like about this knife? Let's end on a good note. So we'll start with what I don't like. The pocket clip is a deep carry, but it's kind of, and I guess it fits the design, but it's just generic, and I get why you don't do ambidextrous pocket clips, but at the same time, like, I mean, on something like this, it's basic. No, I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of that pocket clip. It's just kind of meh. Meh. Just like the Emoji Movie. Meh. What do I like? So coming in at 89 bucks from Ferrum Forge, you're actually getting a pretty darn good value for that Nitro V steel, bearings, and everything that comes along with this. Plus, you got this nice stonewash finish, and it's just a very, very clean looking knife. This fuller looks great. Everything about it looks great, and you can tell that they did a lot of work with it. The ergonomics. Any Ferrum Forge design is going to have fantastic ergonomics despite being small and despite being very, very narrow. So as you can see here, I got this and it just feels good. That's in the choked up position though. When you're not choked up, it's just okay, but you can still get 4-finger grip on there, and that's nice too. Another thing we like is the action. This is on bearings, but the tolerances are pretty darn good. So for a small knife, it's super, super snappy. Even with the thumb, very good. And then with the flipper tab, also good. And the flipper tab feels great. I don't talk too much about that, especially when they're good, but I really like the way this flipper tab's done. It feels very nice. The forward finger choil, once again, just fantastic. Not really part of the action, kind of, I digress. The carry factor is another thing that I love about this. This thing is so narrow in your pocket, you don't even know it's there, and it's a deep carry, even further not knowing that it's there. So, I mean, it's just fantastic all around. And last, you know, it looks very, very cool. So for 89 bucks, guys, can I recommend the Ferrum Forge Stinger? Abso-freaking-lutely. This is a fantastic little knife. It's a fantastic little slicer, and you're not going to be breaking down boxes all day with it, but you can. And, you know, it's just going to get your general EDC tasks done. This is something that I'm not comparing it to the Kershaw Launch 10, but I like the Kershaw Launch 10 because my generic EDC stuff, I can get done with damn near everything with this, and it's non-obtrusive, it fits in the pocket, and it disappears. That's kind of what this reminds me of. This is just a little bit bigger version of that. You can knock out a lot of the stuff that you want to do, and you won't have any issues doing it. There's really no complaints about this, and I get what the hype behind this was. This was a very, very nice knife, and you won't be dissatisfied, I promise. My name is Ty. I don't promise. Hold on, let me go back on that. If you guys try to hold me to that promise, that's going to be a problem. All right? Somebody may be dissatisfied. I will say, I don't think you will be. How about that? But, going back, my name is Tyler. This has been Everyday EDC. You guys stay sharp. Stay safe. Thank you, Jake, for sending this in so that I can actually look at it and feel a Ferrum Forge Stinger. I almost purchased one before you sent one in, but they were all out of stock back then. Other than that, you guys stay sharp, stay safe. Have a great freaking day, guys. Thank you guys sincerely so much for watching. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. It genuinely means a lot. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment. If you didn't like it, give me some feedback in the comments below and hit the thumbs down button. In case you guys don't know, I do have a Patreon, which will be listed right here. In that Patreon, we're giving bi-monthly giveaways to just the Patreons based on the number of Patreons that we have in the Patreon. We will also be giving discounts on all the knives that I sell based on the number of patrons. My name is Tyler. This is Everyday EDC. You guys stay sharp, stay safe, and have a great day.